Hey y'all, we biggity 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 back. As I could tell by the title, we're gonna be talking about my experience in college. So first of all, I'm an apparel design major. What made me start even considering going to school for apparel design. Growing up, I used to like play. I had discovered a sewing kit, and I was like, "Oh, how does this work?" So my grandma had showed me how to thread the needle and everything. And I was like, okay, that like piqued my interest. And then like about middle school, I started like drawing clothes and stuff. And then something just stuck to me was like, I want to go to school for apparel design because I also like clothes and stuff. And sometimes I would just want to go to the mall just to window shop. So that's why I even started going to college for or getting interested in clothing in the first place. And then I went ahead and went to college. I started college in 23 and I'm set to graduate in 27. One thing I can say so far from like my first year of college, I'll say that it was a roller coaster. There was a lot of stuff that I had to get adjusted to. First thing I had to get adjusted to, of course, was being away from home. But there were events during Welcome Week that like kind of distracted me from like any getting homesick or anything. So like it was we weren't sitting in the room too long to actually like get the idea of like pondering just like, oh my god, I miss being home and just all that. So like there were events that took place where we could like go and like meet new friends and stuff like that. And I went to a couple of them. I went to also some like events that we were supposed to have that we like needed to go to. Almost like convocation and some other stuff. So I had did that. And after that was when school actually started. So when school actually started, one thing I bought was a planner because I made it a point to be like, okay, I'm going to be organized because I don't know what college is like. I'm just, so like I didn't really know what to expect. So I made sure that I bought a planner so I could stay on top of my schoolwork and everything, and that worked. Most definitely that worked. I recommend get a planner. Like I had like 5 classes. The classes were relatively easy that semester. Then like the second semester I had 4 classes. I'll say that maybe because I really didn't like go to no parties and I just went to class, came home, did my homework, and that was it. But last year, this school year that passed, I learned to like incorporate the time that I had like in between classes to like work on assignments so that way I'll have less to do when I get home. Cause I'm not gonna lie, sometimes you don't know what your schedule gonna be looking like as far as like studying, doing schoolwork. So it's best for you to just get as much as you could out the way ahead of time, and then you'll worry about everything else later on. So it's about trial and error these last couple of years, but I'm beginning to adjust and see it like, okay, this worked, so let me use that. That didn't work, so I'm not gonna do that. I was really late to class. I probably was late to class about like 3 times. They're not really that big on like being punctual unless that professor takes a roll. But other than that, it's really not like you get there when you can't get there. But one thing I do want to mention is like don't make it a habit of being repetitively late because it's gonna catch up to you. I really didn't do much cooking. I had a meal plan, so like I didn't do much cooking, but they did have like places for me to like cook some food or whatever when I needed to. So that was tea. As far as like shopping for college, I packed minimal. Well, in my opinion, minimal. I got like some school supplies, some notebooks, some pens, some pencils, some highlighters, some colorful pens, some paper, a binder, like some loose leaf paper, a binder, a laptop, of course. I do recommend getting flash drives, your clothes, your shoes. Well, if you're able to go home, like in between the like for the winter semester, if you're able to go home for like Christmas break and stuff like that, you could just bring like the fall clothes, and then like when you go back home, you could switch it out, so it'll be less like clothes that you get to bring. And of course, like just regular like hygiene items and stuff like that. That's really all that I bought with me, and that's like work for me. Of course, like if you like to bring more stuff, like of course decorations too, but like I like to draw and all that stuff, paint. I had painted some stuff, like painted and drew some stuff, and I would like put that on the wall. For this past year, I don't know, like for some reason it was so stressful. I really don't know what happened. I really don't. Oh, also, I do a lot of walking around here at my school. So, um, and they do have a gym, but like I was also like doing that when I could, but like for the most part I was like doing all this walking. So sometimes I did think like, oh, I don't have to the gym because I'm walking. Like, but I still try to go to the gym. But depending on your class, depending on your major, you're gonna have like a swamp of assignments, and the assignments weren't like a lot of assignments that I had to do. It was really just the prep and studying that really took a lot of time, especially like this past year, semester specifically. Like all this reading you have to do, and the recollection of the information, and you're reviewing the information. It just takes a lot of time. And one thing I did start to get discouraged, one thing that between like both of the past 2 years, was like my test taking strategies, because I would normally just study for a class and a little bit, because like I understood the bulk of it like from the class, so like I know I was going to do well on the test or whatever. But you have to do like extensive studying for college assignments, and I feel like I did not. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna keep it a band. I didn't put in as much of effort as I should have as far as studying. I didn't fail the class. Okay, I had A's and B's, and this past semester I had like one C in economics, but I have A's and B's, so I didn't fail the class, but in my mind I still was failing because I knew that I could do better. For entertainment, like I said, I really didn't go to no parties or nothing, and I didn't have like any friends, anybody to hang out with, so I would just make some videos, watch TikToks, be on YouTube, make YouTube videos and stuff like that, watch movies, and stay in and talk to like my family and friends. So that's like my little recap before I go into my third year of college. And I also got a on campus job this semester. So if y'all can, I do recommend y'all get a campus job, because and you don't have to worry about like hours and stuff, because like they're gonna make sure that you don't work like too much. I think the men is like 20 hours you can work. You're gonna work part time as a full time student, but everybody needs are different. So sometimes they might work part time here, like at their on campus job, and have like another job or a side hustle. And that's also a good way to make some money if you like do hair, do nails, um, if you know how to cut hair, just whatever you could do that. I was also thinking about getting into like making some soaps, making like some bags for games and everything, because there's like only a certain like size bag that you could bring. So I feel like selling those would be good for like game season, football season, which is in the first semester. Make some real good money off of that, I feel like. But just like whatever you're good at doing, just make that into like a side hustle so you can get paid for it. That's why I recommend doing that. Because one thing I do have a problem with is spending money, and it's not to where it's like everything I see I want, but it's just like, oh, because I have it and I see it and I want it and it's there, I'm tempted to buy it, but I do need to work on it. Not gonna lie. But other than that, I do recommend though developing a saving method that you know that you can stick to. So like I recently stuck with the like every time I'll get paid, I'll put like a certain amount of money aside and then withdraw it at the end of the month, and just keep doing that. But now I think what I'm going to do is like budget out what I need for that month, and then I'll put the remaining to the side, so that way I'll be saving more than I'm spending. Because like when you look at your bank statements and all that, or you just think about like, man, I had this much and I spent it on that. It's like you really didn't need it, but you did it anyway. Oh, and one thing I want to tell y'all is there's this site called Vital Source, and you can get e-textbooks from there at like a lower price. So if you do require textbooks for your class before buying them at the bookstore or buying them like on Amazon or somewhere, check there online on Vital Source. And also you could probably check with your library to see if they have like an archive of any of the books. So yeah, so you won't be spending too much of money on them. Cause the most I spent on a book was probably 100 something. I know it was over 100. I don't want to lie, but it was over $100, and the lowest was probably like 50 something dollars. So I didn't spend that much money on books. Some tips I have for y'all though are, first of all, if you are with somebody coming out of high school that is susceptible to peer pressure, I recommend before you like spend your summer just trying to make certain decisions on your own, like practice doing that, because you're going to get to college, you're going to do get exposed to a lot of people, a lot of events, and it's going to be environments where you have to think for yourself. You have to think for yourself and you have to fend for yourself. And you can't think that everybody that you meet is like going to be a rider. Because push come to shove, not everybody riding with you when stuff hit the fan. So you gotta stick to your own little thing. One thing I do also want to say, you're not gonna. It's not like if you're like me and you're like introverted and you find it a little harder to make friends, it's gonna take a while for you to make friends. But also, like the friends that you do meet, you may not even be friends with them in the rest of the semester, and that's just the way it is. It's not. It's not necessarily you. It's just that y'all were compatible, but like it was just like a temporary compatibility. Also, bring what you need. Like I said, the school supplies, fall clothes if you can. If you have to bring everything. But basically, just bring what you need. Bring what you know you're going to need. Cause that unloading the dorm and everything, it was not it. Okay, it was not it. So you need to make your process as quick as possible, as easy and simple as possible. If you believe in God, I also recommend staying in the Word. That's why I did a lot of that, staying in the Word and just praying for protection, because there's a lot of things that can happen, and we might not even know that it's even about to happen or capable of happening until it does. So I recommend staying in the Word as well and spending your money wisely. Staying in contact with people that's like your real friend, oops, your real friend, your family, and everything. Stay in contact with those people because you're gonna need a support system. You're gonna need a support system, and sometimes you're not gonna be able to hang out with your friends as often as you used to. Like if you live near, like if your school is near like your hometown and everything, and you don't really have to like leave. That's not gonna be the case. You're not gonna be able to hang out with them all the time. So like um you may have to like explain to them that, and sometimes like if you do so happen to like fall out because y'all can't see each other as much as y'all used to, then maybe it just wasn't meant, you know, maybe it just wasn't meant for y'all to be remaining friends. Learn how to cook. Learn how to cook some food, because sometimes you're not gonna feel like going to the dining hall, and also bring a lot of snacks, because sometimes those late night studies, you're not the only thing you're gonna have time for. Sometimes it's just to eat something. So you can get you some TV dinners, you can get you some snacks, some stuff that you could just throw in the microwave, all that kind of stuff. Bring disposable plates, and utensils. Because you know, we know me. I don't even like washing dishes every day, so I know y'all not gonna wash dishes every day, especially like when it like pick up speed later on into the semester, like the first couple weeks go by and everything just start coming and everything. You're not gonna want to do nothing, so just go there, go that route. Also stay in shape. Stay in shape most definitely. Now my campus, I do have to do a lot of walking, but that may not be the case for every campus. So if your campus is smaller, just make sure you're staying in shape. Go to a nearby gym if you could. If your gym is on campus, go there. Utilize all the free and discounted places that you can go, because I'm sure there's like a good bit of places you can go, and you could tell them like, hey, you're a student, see if you can get like a discount or something, a student discount somewhere, especially like in the like areas around the school as well. They'll be willing to give you a discount. So make sure, and they'll also help you save some money too. So in summary, my experience in college was, uh, I'm gonna rate it probably an 8 out of 10 as far as like learning. It was a lot of learning that I had to endure and go through with this college, because not only am I like learning what I need for my career, I'm learning about myself, I'm learning about those around me, I'm learning how to maneuver and like live into an independent young woman as well. So it's a lot, and that toll can really be a huge weight on you sometimes. So now that I've gotten that out the way, one thing I wanted to make mention of was that it's important for young men and young women to know their worth. I know that a lot, like when you start getting to the age where you start dating and everything, you want to, look nicer for the person you're dating and just look nicer in general. But if somebody is provoking you to do things that you did not consent to, I feel like you should tell somebody about that. Now, if they threaten you, most definitely tell somebody, because we have something else that's escalating the situation. At that point, it's DV, and we don't want it to be anything. We don't want it to get out of hand even more so, because it's never okay for people to threaten you and coerce you into doing something that you have no business doing. So, and I know like a lot of that can occur on a college campus, and it'll be harder to and penalize the perpetrator with. So I do recommend doing that if you're um and also like try to like cover up as much as you could. Young ladies, try to cover up your bodies as much as you could, because not everybody has their best interests. Because the first thing people are going to say if something happens is that they're going to be like, oh, they was wearing this. What you wear never gives people the password to your body. So make sure y'all keep that in mind as well. And also, there's like some people do participate in some activities, and it can cause them to get hazed. And one thing I do want to mention as far as hazing is that we shouldn't, if something is going against your morals, your beliefs, and you feel like you just need to get out of the situation, listen to your instinct. Listen to your instinct. I don't know if y'all, how often y'all are told this, but if you have a drink somewhere, don't leave it out. If you do leave the drink or food, not even only a drink, if you leave food out and you step away for a minute and you come back to it, don't eat it. Don't drink it. They could have certain type of substances that can do just make you pass out and have people do things that they had no business doing to you. So that's another thing. And I mention this because even though I don't go out and stuff like that, I've had some experiences where people have done some things like tried just did some sly weird stuff. So if you feel like something is weird and just off, just make sure you remove yourself from the environment as quick as possible. And I also know that as college age students, it's like we're more vulnerable to certain things. And like a freshman, for example, freshman is like, ooh, I'm about to have fun. You can have fun, but also I want y'all to be careful too. I think I touched base on everything I wanted to talk about. Did a little mini recap of what I went through the freshman year and my sophomore year. I did some little tips for y'all, and I did my experience. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video right here. I like the way you do that right there. So make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe if y'all like the video. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye bye.